It's Morphicon time!
You can tell from an intro like that we're in for a very serious episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Power Rangers Essentials. I'm Steven Zrita and I'm so happy to be back again reviewing Power Rangers episodes for you. It's been way too long. I'm set up again in this new place, and today we're going to pick up right where we left off with Green with Evil Part 4, Eclipsing Megazord. Alright, right off the bat, Goldar is terrorizing the city as a giant, but the Rangers can't morph to stop him. The last episode left the morphing grid overpowered and the circuits in the command center fried. But luckily, Billy, being the genius he is able to fix the circuits and give the Rangers the ability to morph again, which they do, and they go off to Angel Grove to fight the Putties and Scorpina. Meanwhile, back at the Juice Bar, Bulk and Skull flee in a bus to get away from Goldar, but Goldar actually grabs them and holds them hostage. While all this is happening, Alpha's back in the command center trying to locate Zordon again, but the Green Ranger teleports in and pulls Alpha's plug. Again. Now the Rangers are trying to figure out what to do about the bus problem when they finally call their Zords, unfortunately falling right into Rita's trap. You see, Rita's plan from the get-go was to block the sun with an eclipse, thereby also blocking the solar power that the Megazord needs to function. Back at the command center, Alpha revives himself and tries to figure out who the Green Ranger is as he's trapped him in a force field, but Rita teleports him back to grow him giant size before Alpha can figure it out. Now, as a giant-sized Ranger, Tommy can go toe-to-toe with the Megazord alongside Goldar and Scorpina, so we have a 3-on-1 fight. And I remember this is one of the more epic battles because the thought of a gigantic Ranger without a Zord is pretty mind-blowing. Now it's 3-on-1 and the Megazord has no power, so the Rangers lose this fight. They're actually knocked clean out of their Megazords and out of their transformations too. So now back in civilian form, the Rangers watch their Zords fall down to their fiery doom. Unfortunately, they're going to recycle this footage a couple more times throughout the show, so it loses its intensity as you watch it over and over. The Rangers regroup at the command center, and Alpha says despite the Rangers losing, he has some good news. The computer might have figured out who the Green Ranger is. The episode ends with the Rangers observing the viewing globe and seeing that the Green Ranger is, in fact, Tommy. Alright, what did we learn here today? Well, Jason sums it up pretty well. Even when the odds are stacked against you, you have to go for it, you have to fight.
Isn't the smallest chance of victory enough of a reason for us to keep on fighting? The world needs us, Rangers.
Now this mentality doesn't just apply to fights, in fact it applies to any project or goal you might have. If there's any slim chance of benefit, it's worth pursuing, it's worth fighting for, even if it's in a metaphorical sense, because when you finally reach that goal, it's going to be worth that much more to you and you'll have grown that much more of a person for struggling through those hardships to get to it. The Rangers are a much stronger team at the end of the Green with Evil story arc because they went through this struggle together. So it's worth the struggle not only because you'll get your goal, but you'll emerge a better person. Why is this episode essential? Well, it's part of the Green with Evil story arc, so you need to see it to get all 5 parts. But I think it's worth seeing maybe because of Bulk and Skull's joke alone.
Oh, I want my mommy! Yeah, I want your mommy!
A lot of jokes in the show fall flat when you're an adult, but they work as a kid. This one works more as an adult. It's actually pretty hilarious. Also, I think this is an episode worth seeing because it's one of the rare times you see a Ranger fight giant size. I'm not talking about with a Zord, the Ranger just grows. You see this a couple times in Mighty Morphin and I think once in Zeo, and that's all I know of. But the concept just blows your mind because you can imagine piloting a Megazord is a little clunky. If you're just a giant Megazord-sized Ranger, you don't have to worry about controls. You can just punch people in the face. Zordon, forget the Zords, do that. Alright, watching this episode back in the 90s and watching this episode now, back then and now, I think this kaiju battle at the end with the 3-on-1 fight is pretty epic. Like I said, you see a giant Green Ranger. Scorpina is an awesome addition because when she grows, she becomes an entirely different beast. Goldar is menacing as always, and there's some great tag team moves there, and even though it's sad to see the Rangers lose, it's a pretty epic fight to see them lose in. The Zords on fire imagery is pretty good both back then and now because you don't really see this kind of hellish imagery much in this show. It's just a rare moment when the Rangers lose close to everything. I mean, up to this point you're so used to seeing the Rangers win every week, beat up the monster and reunite for juice at the Juice Bar, but this episode it just doesn't happen. Now this episode doesn't hold up as much nowadays because this 4th part of the miniseries kind of drags on. It repeats a lot of elements we've seen before in the miniseries and just stalls for time in other parts. What I'm talking about is on the beach, the Rangers are watching this bus and they're just kind of going, What do we do? What do we do? I don't know what to do. If we call the Zords, he might just tip it over while we do our formation. What do we do? That happens for way too long in this episode, and the whole plot point of Alpha 5 trying to find Zordon in the command center, and then the Green Ranger comes in and unplugs him. We've seen all that before. You could kind of condense this 5-part miniseries into a 4-part miniseries just because this episode meanders around so much. So this is actually, if you take out the kaiju fight, one of the weaker episodes of the story arc. All right, time for your comments, which you left like, I don't know, 6 months ago. Let's see what you guys said. I don't know if you even remember what you said. All right, last time I asked you guys what general monster would you like Rita to create to fight the Rangers? Carlton Willingham, you said Meanie Megazord, a Rita Repulsa Megazord that has the power of every monster for the past. That's pretty powerful. I don't know if the Rangers could beat that, but that would be a general worth creating if I was Rita. Ricky Gainey, you said Bambushka. He can teleport, he's so powerful that he can't talk. If he talks, a massive power can wipe out the Earth just with him talking. Has a little good in him, everything he touches his skin adapts to. The Rangers won't stand a chance. Yeah, no, if he can talk and destroy the world, the Rangers really don't stand a chance. And then Kazama2987, you actually answered my question about Scorpina looking like she's talking English. You said Scorpina doesn't speak English in Zyuranger. What we see when she has a close-up is most likely ZU2 footage. I think that makes perfect sense because if you know a lot about the show, you might know that they filmed extra footage in Japan specifically for Power Rangers. All right, next up, we're gonna finish up the Green with Evil story arc with part 5, and I want you to tell me in the comments below what other character, not just monster, but character from Power Rangers do you think should be grown to giant size like Tommy was? I want you to think outside the box. Anybody in Power Rangers. Let's see it in those comments. Also, I've said last time that I was an extra in the Superpower Beatdown with the Green Ranger. That episode is finally out. If you can find me and give me an exact time code, you get a super secret thumbs up prize. It's a thumbs up. But let me know if you can find me. It'll be fun. All right, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss Green with Evil Part 5's recap next week. Thanks again for watching Power Rangers Essentials. I'm Steven Zarita. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you are happy for the return, as I am. And I will see you guys next week. Punch it! Hooah!